Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Chapter 0.2 Notes. Today we're going to be talking about evaluating variable expressions. A variable, in case you didn't know, is a letter that represents a number. Okay, now the most common variables you will see are x and y, but they could be m, w, p, anything, z. All of those are really popular ones. Okay, now evaluate a variable expression. That means when you substitute a variable with a given value and find the results. Okay, so to substitute a variable with a given value and find the results, and that pretty much means to simplify. Okay, and something to remember is when you simplify, oh, let me get my right highlighter out. It's really important that you use parentheses when substituting, okay? You're going to see me do that all the time, okay? So let's take a look at the first one. It says to evaluate, and we have the problem 8m minus 8m squared when m equals -1, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 8, and then we're going to plug in a -1. Okay, so we've already talked about order of operations, the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and now I have to make sure that I do the exponent before I do anything else. Okay, so my 8 -1 stays the same, and now that is -1 off to the side. If you need to write it, it's -1 times -1, which is a +1. Okay, and now we can start to multiply. Okay, we have two things that we need to multiply, and that is 8 and -1 and 8 times 1. 8 times -1 is -8 minus 8 times 1, which is 8. The next step would be to do the click click. You get -8 plus -8, which gives you a grand total of -16. Okay. Let's move down. Now it says the absolute value. Let me back up a little bit. Absolute value. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Okay? And the thing about distance is always positive. All right? Now, in class, what we did is we drew a number line, or we at least talked about this. If this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's -5. If we look at, what's that, -3? -3 is 1, 2, 3 spots away. It's a positive 3 spots away from 0. Okay? And +3 is 1, 2, 3. It's positive 3 spots away. Okay? So when we're talking about absolute value, it's going to be the distance, so it's going to be a positive distance the number is from 0. So let's look at A. We have the absolute value of -2.7. Okay, so we don't take the opposite or anything like that. It's just 2.7. Okay, some of these we're going to have to do a little bit of more work, like B. The first thing it wants us to do is the absolute value of -8. Well, that's 8. And the rest of this is you need to multiply. -3 times 8 gives us -24. Okay? And now, see, whenever we see that out front, that is pretty much saying the opposite. And people are like, well, Mr. Grice, it's a negative sign. Well, negative is the opposite of something. So I want the opposite of the absolute value of -1/2. And this is where it works. It's good to work backwards. So the absolute value of -1/2 is, well, that's 1/2. But I want the opposite of that. So the opposite of that is negative. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start plugging these things in. And remember, when you plug in is we're going to use parentheses on everything. So we have 5 minus, we have to plug something in. So y is 3 and x is -4. So we have to do what's inside first. So I'm going to worry about that first. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay. And now we're going to do the exponent. 2 squared gives us 4. Whoop, crazy pen. Okay, my next step is now I can multiply. So -2 times -4 gives me +8. 4 plus 8 gives me 12. And 12 plus 7 gives us a grand total of 19. So our answer for number 1 is 19. Remember, order of operations, step by step. Okay? Number 2. So m equals -2. And remember, we have to do parentheses first. So we're going to have to jump in right there. That's what we have to do first. So I'm just going to rewrite 3 times -2 squared minus 3 times -2 is -6. Okay. Now we can do our exponents. Okay, we've got 2 of them that we have to worry about. So -2 times -2 is +4. And then we also have -6 times -6, which gives us +36. Okay, 3 times 4 is 12 minus 36. All right, and now the next step to do is this is a click-click situation. And if you have trouble subtracting like that, put the bigger number out front, subtract them. And so our bigger number was negative, so our answer is going to be -24. Okay, if anytime you need to be like, whoa, Mr. Grice, that was too fast, rewind the video, watch it again. Okay, let's look at 3. All right, so we have x is -3, y is 5, and w is -9. Now, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go inside and simplify that. Okay, 6 divided by -3 is -2. Okay, and now once again, we're going to do our exponents. -2 times -2 is 4. And we've got one guy left that we can do click right here. And so -4 plus -5 gives us -1 plus -9, and we get our grand total of -10. Okay, number 4, what I want you to do is go ahead and pause the video and see if you can fill in everything else yourself, okay? Good luck. Okay, so there you go. Now, the first thing, we want to treat this like 2 separate problems. So the first thing we can do is the top, 5 plus -2. Well, 5 plus -2, that is 3. Okay, so now everything else, I'm going to start and work on it down here. Now we have to do parentheses first. So 5 plus -2 is 3. Okay, and now I have to do my exponent. 3 times 3 gives us 9. And 4 times 9 gives us 36. Okay, so now -42 plus 6, that what we were just talking about that. Set them up. We have to borrow. So we get -6. And now the last thing to do is to see if you can reduce, which you can. And we get -1/2. Okay? All right, number 15. So we are substituting. We got -15. Let me rewrite that so that actually looks what it is. -15. And y is -9. The absolute value of -15 is 15 minus the absolute value of -9 is 9 minus 2. And then if you want to do your clicks right here, I'm going to combine those first. 15 plus -9 gives me a grand total of 6. Whoa. 6 plus -2. And that is, good job. Hopefully you said it, 4. All right, number 6. I want you guys to see if you can pause the video and do the whole thing by yourself, okay? Good luck. Okay, so let's go through this. We have to worry about the absolute value of -7. Well, the absolute value of -7 is 7. Okay. And now right here we have 2 negatives. The 2 negatives make it positive because it's the opposite of -3. Well, the opposite of -3 is 3. But what's the absolute value of 3? 3. That's where we get those two numbers. We multiply. -3 times 7 gives us -21. Okay. And then all you do then is -21 plus 3, and that gives us a grand total of -18. All right, let's flip it over, and mine's not working right now, so just hold on a second and it'll be up and running. Okay, so now we're on the back. Let's look at 7. We got a lot more stuff that we have to substitute for, so let's be very careful when we're doing this. Okay, so we have 2 parentheses -3 squared plus 3 parentheses -2 squared minus the square root of 4. Okay, so order of operations, we have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So 2 times -3, that gives us -6 squared. And everything else stays the same. Okay? But now we can do a couple things at once because they're all on the same value. Okay? All exponents are roots. -6 squared, well, -6 squared is -6 times -6, which is 36. -2 times -2 is +4. And then the square root of 4 is 2. Now the next thing that we have to do is we got to multiply inside. So we get 36 plus 12 minus 2. From left to right, we have to add 36 plus 12 is 48. Minus 2 gives us 46. Okay. let's go ahead and set everything up. We know m is -1, n is -4. There we go. So absolute value comes first. The absolute value of -1 is -1. Okay, let's work on our two exponents right here. So I'm just going to rewrite 5 to the -1. That stays the same. -4 times -4 gives us a +16. And -1 to the third, remember that's -1 times -1 times -1. So we have three negatives. It's going to be negative, and 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, let's start to clean this up. 5 times -1 gives us -5 minus 16, and in the back we've got a click, so we're actually adding 1. Okay? Now, right here, add the opposite, so we get -21 plus 1. And then after that, -21 plus 1, we get -20. Okay? All right. Hold on real quick. Did anyone catch my mistake? Because I sure did. That's not supposed to be a -5. That's supposed to be a +5. Okay? So in just that one symbol changes a whole thing. 5 plus -16 is -11. And then -11 plus 1 gives us -10. Okay? And this is why we can't go too fast through our homework. Okay? You gotta take your time with this. All right? All right, number 9. M cubed, m is -2 to the third power minus 4, -1 squared minus 5, m to the -2, all divided by -1 over -2. Okay? You might be like, whoa, Mr. Grice, there's way too many things going on. Okay? Exponents first. -2 times -2 times -2. That gives us -8. -1 times -1 gives us +1. And the only thing that we can fix up here is we've got a negative divided by negative, so we know that that's going to give us a positive. Okay, so it's a +1/2. All right, let's clean up inside so that -8 stays the same. -4 times 1 is -4, and -5 times -2 gives us a +10. Okay. Let's combine some like terms. We can add those two guys together. We get -12 plus 10 divided by 1/2. And then finally, -12 plus 10 is -2. Now, we have -2 divided by, let's make that look like a division sign. And I'm just going to start rewriting this up here. So I know that I have to put that -2 over 1. We're dividing, and I want to multiply. So we're going to change it to multiply by the reciprocal. -2 times 2 going straight across gives us -4. -4 over 1, which is the exact same thing as -4. Okay? Last one. Guys, I'm going to be mean. I'm going to make you do this all by yourself. I want to see what you can do. Okay? So pause the video and good luck. Oh my gosh, I'm so mean, and I'm only giving you the answer. Okay? So if you need any assistance, you need to come find Miss Carranza or myself, track us down. We'd love to help you out. Otherwise, guys, that's it for Algebra 1, Chapter 0.2 Notes. Thanks for watching.